First question. This movie starts with kind of some convicts spending a night in jail. Have you ever had to spend a night in jail for any reason?
No.
Okay, good. Hey everyone, this is David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm talking to Nicky Whelan, the star of The Flood, which is coming to theaters, digital, and on demand on July 14, 2023. I'm going to talk to her right now, and while you're watching, if you can like and subscribe to this channel, that would be fantastic. Helps me out a lot. Thank you. All right, so thanks so much for joining me. Today I've got Nicky Whelan, who has been in pretty much every kind of movie you can think of. She's been in action, she's been in horror, she's been in comedy, and now she is starring in The Flood, which is an indie action film coming to theaters, on demand, and digital on July 14, 2023. It is like I said, an indie action film that has a fun cast, a great concept, and some explosive moments. And I'm really excited to talk to you. So thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
Of course. So first question, how did you get involved in this film? What about this appealed to you? Did they say like, hey, vacation in Louisiana? And you're like, oh, this is very different. Like, what was it?
Well, I'm not sure if you've spoken to anyone, but we actually shot this movie in Bangkok.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Which brings a whole different vibe to this movie. So Damon, the producer of this, I'd worked with him before. He bought me the script and goes, "What do you think of this?" And we had done a shark movie, and I'm like, "All right, now we're going to do alligators. All right, let's go." This is a very challenging movie to make. We had, we all flew out to Thailand, stay in Bangkok, and we're shooting in this enormous factory in the middle of like a filthy car park in the middle of Bangkok. And they're bringing in these water trucks and filling up this filthy water. And it was an intense shoot. We're doing night shoots because of the weather. It was so hot and tropical. We had a lot of stuff going against us. And, it was a very hard movie to make, but it was incredibly sort of rewarding at the end of it. It kicked my ass, but it's meant to look like we're in Louisiana, and it does. But believe it or not, that was Bangkok.
I guess, I mean, that's almost better, right? Like you get a vacation in Bangkok rather than Louisiana. That's even cooler. But I appreciate your comments about, the water stuff. I've talked to a lot of people that have filmed in water, and it is brutal. Just like being in that environment, doing all those takes. Sometimes it's too cold, sometimes it's too hot. It's never exactly right. So that does sound like a brutal filming, despite you being in Bangkok for the entire time.
Yeah, and fully clothed with our socks and shoes on. It's very uncomfortable, very heavy. And that water we never knew what temperature it was going to be, really. Just, it was on the cooler side, but then we've got this tropical heat outside, and then these huge thunderstorms coming through. And it is. And you think about all the electrical equipment that you've got in the water, you've got to watch out for all of that stuff too. So there's just so many things to keep in mind in 2 weeks putting together this enormous movie. But I'm so proud of the crew and the cast, and Brandon, our director, kept such a cool vibe throughout this. It was a lot. And he was so chill, and he does action so good, and so he captured those moments like he does really well. And we've just, scrambled and put this movie together.
That's insane. 2 weeks for a film with kind of all these moving parts is ridiculous. So yeah, you definitely must have had like at least a veteran director, a veteran cast there to kind of keep it moving along.
Yeah, you just got to keep going. And, those sequences, the fight sequences, all the things you see, we put them together on the spot there and then, and you've got little time to rehearse. And I was doing all my own stunts, so I'm kind of learning as I went along. And it was, I smashed up my hand. I got thrown on a table at one stage. It was pretty rough, but it felt good. It felt good to get it done.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to ask about the action scenes, like how much you had to do to prep, because I mean, you definitely looked the part. Like there was a scene when you kind of like flex. I was like, all right, like she's got some guns on her, and then she uses some real guns, and then she gets like some fights, going in. So I was curious how much time you had to prep, or were you just always ready and then just kind of like jumped in, ready to go?
I'm kind of always ready, to be honest with you, because these movies, they're very low budget. They're shot really quickly. They come out of nowhere. Before I know it, I'm on a plane to Thailand. I don't know what I'm doing. So in my personal life, I do a little bit of boxing and stuff. I've always kind of had more of an athletic kind of vibe about me. So it's not like I was training to get guns or anything, and it's just wherever my weight's at that time is kind of what I work with. But yeah, it's still really challenging. I've got so much more to learn about action, but I'm loving it. I'm starting to use guns and weapons and training and stuff like that. So it's all, I just did a movie where I played a sniper as well. I had to do sniper training, which is a whole different ball game. All of this stuff is just like building knowledge and learning. And it's hard. I'm a girly girl a lot of the time. So, it's kind of throwing myself into these hardcore scenarios, but I love it. It's great. I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
Yeah, no, that must be fun to kind of like, like you said, it's challenging, but it must be fun to kind of like put on that persona for a little bit and be able to be a badass. And then afterwards, you can go like hang out on the beach, for a couple weeks to decompress.
Yeah.
Did you actually get to spend some time afterwards in Bangkok? Or I know your schedule is probably crazy busy, so did you just kind of leave this to go to another filming, or?
I did. I had to go straight off to another project. I literally finished filming and flew out the next day. I'm a big fan of Thailand. It's one of my favorite places. I would have loved to have flown to one of the islands, but I just didn't have time. But it was good to spend time in Bangkok. It's a pretty busy, chaotic city, but I don't know. We had our little motorbikes and we burned around, and it's a fantastic city to get to know. So there's no better way to do it than on a movie set, because you're living there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you're kind of like surrounded by people that maybe you can go out with, or at least can tell you where to go, because maybe they're more familiar with the place than you are. So
exactly. Yeah.
Awesome. I bet the food was fantastic. I assume that there was
delicious and massages every day, because we were exhausted and we were doing night shoots. So around sort of mid-afternoon, I would crawl over to the cheap massage place and get the most incredible massage. It was like $10. I'm like, how is this possible?
That is the best way to recover. That sounds like an amazing way to spend 2 months, even 2 weeks, even though you were getting beat up the entire time.
Exactly.
So I know we have limited time. I'm going to switch. I call it the lightning round. They're just lightweight questions about the film. I want to see how your personal experiences map to things in the film. You can feel free to pass on any of them. I won't be offended, but I try to keep them very answerable.
Okay.
The first question. This movie starts with kind of some convicts spending a night in jail. Have you ever had to spend a night in jail for any reason?
No.
Okay, good. You play a sheriff in this film. Have you ever wanted to be a cop?
When I was very little, I wanted to be a policewoman randomly. Yeah.
And now I'm sure you've played a dozen policewomen in various stages of your career, so that works out perfectly.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
This question is because before this film, I didn't know the difference. I don't think I still know the difference. Can you tell the difference between an alligator and a crocodile?
I think alligators are more prehistoric, right? They come from like.
That sounds right. I think you're on the right track. I think they're bigger. Yeah.
Bigger, way bigger, more powerful. But hey, they're all freaking scary. So yeah.
Yeah. The only thing is run. That's the only thing you need to know. Have you ever seen a gator in the wild?
Not a gator. I've seen crocodiles and stuff. I've seen them, I can't even think where I have actually. Maybe at farms and properties or zoos and stuff, but I've never come in the wild with anything face to face yet.
I always see those signs of like warning alligators. I always kind of want to see one just to have it happen, but I never do.
Nope, I'll pass.
Well, that's why you're the smart sheriff that survives, and I'm me. So, have you ever eaten gator?
No.
All right. And the last question is: do you have any alligator skin accessories?
No, I do not.
All right. Well, I imagine after this film, you might have wanted to get some, but I guess that makes sense that you wouldn't even want to associate with alligators after this film. So.
They're scary, but I don't want to be using their skin or eating them. That's for sure. I'm an animal lover, but yes.
There we go. So the film is out on July 14, 2023. You're out getting the word out, promoting it. After people see you in this movie, what can they look forward to next from you? You said there's a sniper film. Is there anything else on the horizon that you can talk about?
72 Hours coming out. I've got a thriller coming out. I did 2 spots on TV shows this year, and I also have gone back to presenting for a show called Bondi Vet in Australia. It's the US audience, so it airs over here, where I do a couple segments on the rescue animals that I work with. So lots of good things coming out.
Lots of good things, constantly busy. I applaud your work effort, but I'm a little sad that you didn't get to spend like 2 weeks in Bangkok decompressing, but it sounds like you are doing great things all around. So thank you so much for your time. This is Nicky Whelan, who is the star of The Flood, which is in theaters, digital, and on demand on July 14th, 2023. Thank you so much.
Thanks, love. Nice to see you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was Nicky Whelan, the star of The Flood, which is coming to theaters, digital, and on demand on July 14, 2023. It is an indie creature feature that has a great concept, a fun cast, and some really explosive moments. If you like this interview, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you.